Good morning, I am Alessia, Master Graduate Architecture student, and I will present you my thesis research titled Ti.hum, Tierra Húmeda, Especies Coexistence Urban Model for Vulnerable Basins, the case of Tierra Amarilla, agro-mining town in Copiapó River Basin, Atacama region, Chile. Introduction. Copiapó Basin belongs to planet's semi-arid surfaces, although it is characterized by the widespread presence of waterways. Climate change and water overexploitation by agribusiness and mining made the Copiapó River basin subject to growing water scarcity. The hydric crisis affected the river ecosystem and the cultivated fields. The effect is evident and calls for the regeneration of the aquifer mesh. The term indicates the water network in surface and underground rift form. Water in fact moves downward from the plateau to the coast, in the riverbed, in the irrigation channels and in the streams, and vice versa moves upward as desalinated water in the aqueducts. Despite the recent hydric crisis, water continues to be a pervasive element of Copiapó River Valley, especially in the low sectors. It generates situations of humidity for a balanced ecosystem. However, the ecological equilibrium is evenly treated in other sectors. This research therefore proposes strategies to recover contaminated water flow for the sustenance of the wetland located in the basin and agricultural practices. Hydric crisis in the basin. The water crisis is mainly due to the massive extraction of groundwater by industrial agriculture since the 80s, when neoliberal economic model in Chile started promoting privatization of water use rights, favoring the export industry to the treatment of local communities. The situation of the basin is very critical. If the water exploitation continues with this level of extraction, the river flow will drop to 2,000 liters per second in 2040. Though mining activity will be progressively supplied by desalinated water, this measure would not be enough to restore the water balance and the associated ecosystem. Furthermore, liquid waste would not recover in the mining process will continue to be stored in tailing dams with a high risk of contamination of streams in the case of alluvial elements. The situation of Tierra Amarilla in the plateau is particularly critical. Here the effects of mining and agro-industrial presence manifest together. With the first, which has modified the topography with its tailing deposits and has generated changes in the atmospheric condition of the place, and the second has contributed to the overexploitation of water tables. This research aims to include these negative factors in territorial strategies to regenerate the life of the place in its different forms. As Martin suggests, this implies to replicate the ecological thinking as an open view on the multiple factors which constitute the place. Ti.hum Agropark, a species coexistence urban model for Tierra Amarilla. So the research project aim is to test how the hydric strategy involving contaminated water surfaces could take shape in Tierra Amarilla as a different anthropic occupation model characterized by humidity. The site current situation suggests to link the disused tailing dam in Bultre and the dry agricultural area with a canal for a recoverable water flow of at least 50 liters per second. 5 main project operations would lead to generate a human agropark supported by purified water. Operation would be the transportation of contaminated water, the contaminated water treatment in phytodeparative filters, the water canalization through crops, the domestic grey-water treatment in the aerobic phytodeparative filters, and finally the aquifer recharge to infiltration. The strategy would provide a total aquifer recharge of 18 liters per second and possibly irrigated agricultural area of 40 hectares. As intervention necessary to activate the watershed and restore the humid condition implies a technical element, but also a possibility of inhabiting these places by vegetation, humans, and other species. So the watershed, with its human soil thickness, carries water from the rocky slope to the riverbed. To sum up, the general strategies would involve four main actors of the basin to face the main conflict, and we aim to reestablish the hydric balance. With the basin considered, an interconnected ecological system, it is possible to integrate the existing water cycle with industrial contaminated water to recover the river wetlands. In the sense, the project discusses on how an artificial water system could contribute both to the recharge of the aquifer and to restore that humidity condition suitable for a species coexistence. Thank you very much for the attention.